For life. The WWF, later WWE European Championship, was a staple of the Attitude Era. A beautifully designed title, I mean, just look at it, so clean. And it has a surprisingly strong list of former champions. And that's why this long ago retired and too often forgotten gem of a championship is one of my favorites of all time. There were 27 different men to hold the European title for a combined 37 title reigns from some of the greatest names in professional wrestling history. Let's quickly try to dive into the somewhat short, sometimes turbulent, but storied history of this beautiful championship and cover all 27 champions chronologically. The first ever European champion was, fittingly, the British Bulldog, who defeated Owen Hart in a tournament final to crown the initial champion in Berlin, Germany on February 26, 1997. Bulldog would go on to win the title once more for a total of 2 reigns with the strap, which doesn't top the list in number of reigns, but Bulldog does sit atop the record books when it comes to the title and days held with 249, the bulk of those coming from his first run. The next champion in the title's lineage is the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, who beat the British Bulldog in his very own home country at one night only in Birmingham, England on September 20th, 1997 to take the strap from him. This would be Michaels' only run with the title, which he held for a WWF recognized 92 days. For the time he held it, however, it was a mostly dormant title, and Michaels rarely, if ever, was a defending champion. It ended when Michaels intentionally lost to Buddy Triple H. In some early DX shenanigans after being ordered to defend the title against his own stablemate on an episode of Raw taped in Lowell, Massachusetts, on December 11th, 1997. Shawn was also the World Heavyweight Champion at the time, so this spread the wealth, so to speak, amongst D-Generation X. While this run was rather short for Triple H with only 30 days recognized as champ, he would get another Euro title win a short few months later, which would end up being much longer, for a total of 2 reigns for the future King of Kings and 149 recognized days as the WWF European Champion. The late great Owen Hart held the European title in between Helmsley's runs, the 4th ever champion. His win is tarnished in Attitude Era silliness as he won it by defeating the artist formerly known as Goldust, who was dressed as Triple H. Commissioner Slaughter, who did not like D-Generation X, not a huge fan, went ahead and deemed Goldust a worthy substitute and the title win official on a January 20th, 1998 Raw taping. It would be Owen's only time to hold the belt for 52 days, according to WWF records. The 5th WWF European Champion would be a man who would become a staple of the Euro title scene for the next year. D'Lo Brown, when he upset Triple H to claim his first reign as champ at a Raw taping in Binghamton, New York, on July 14th, 1998. D'Lo would go on to hold the Euro title a record-tying 4 times in his career for 126 days total. All of his reigns ended up being on the short side, however, as WWF started to hotshot the title around and treat it with very little importance. D'Lo's first run with the Euro strap was his longest by far, holding the title for 56 days, according to WWF record books. D'Lo will forever be remembered when one thinks about the WWF European Championship. The wrestler who would take the title off of D'Lo on a September 15th, 1998 taped Raw and become the 3rd member of D-Generation X to hold the European Championship is X-Pac. X-Pac would go on to win the title twice, both times winning it from D'Lo, as the two feuded for a month or two in late 1998. Culminating at Judgment Day in Rosemont, Illinois, where Pac got his 2nd reign. The first reign of his is only recognized as lasting 13 days, however, less than 2 weeks. Combined with his second title win, however, he would be able to claim a respectable 132 days as European champion over the course of the title's history. Our next champion, and where things get really muddy for the history and luster of the European title, lies with its seventh ever champion, the owner's son himself, Shane McMahon. Muddy not only in how he won it in a tag team match, teaming with Kane against Triple H and X-Pac in Birmingham, Alabama, on a February 15th, 1999 Raw taping. I mean, why was it on the line in a tag match? Yet another weird, bogus title change on cable TV for the poor European Championship. It was unfortunately also muddy in how McMahon's reign ended, as 47 days after Shane won the title, he went on the April 4th, 1998 episode of Sunday Night Heat, for crying out loud, and announced he was retiring as champion and taking the belt with him on Sunday Night Heat. Wow. Yeah, so this was thankfully McMahon's only run with the Euro strap, and believe it or not, things got much, much better for the championship. Only they kind of get worse first. Almost 3 months after being deactivated, the title was reintroduced on the June 21st, 1999 Raw, but in the most nonchalant, who gives a flip way I can remember a title to be reintroduced, outside of Jim Duggan finding the WCW TV title in a trash can on an episode of Saturday Night. Um, right here on this, Midian finds the European Championship in Shane McMahon's travel bag and asks Shane for it, which Shane grants him, making him the new champion and reactivating the dormant European Championship. Now, why does one thing remind me of the other with the European and WCW TV title? Well, that's because the same man wrote it, bro. This is definitely another one of Vince Russo's strokes of genius here. And all things considered, I know it's disrespectful and harmful to the championships, but I did find them amusing at the time, and I still kinda do, so there you go, I guess. This would be Midian's only European Championship reign, lasting a recognized 33 days before dropping it to D'Lo Brown at Fully Loaded in Buffalo, New York, in D'Lo's third Euro Championship win. D'Lo's third reign would last a month from Fully Loaded until SummerSlam in Minneapolis, Minnesota, on August 22nd, 1999. It was there he would fall short against the ninth ever European champion, Jeff Jarrett, in a title versus title match, where Jeff's Intercontinental strap was also on the line after Jarrett received assistance from Brown's former friend and stablemate, Mark Henry. This would be Double J's only European title win, and one of the shortest ever, lasting less than a day, as yet another fluke title change takes place the next night on Raw. Yes, we get another hot shotting of the title as Jarrett gifts the European Championship to Mark Henry on Raw in Ames, Iowa, for helping him out the previous night at SummerSlam against D'Lo Brown. This would be technically the third time this title has changed hands due to it being given away. If there's one thing that can be said about Vince Russo, it's that he really didn't give a damn about the prestige of a title. But Russo was almost out of the door in the WWF at this point in history, and these booking techniques would, as we would see, go with him to WCW. And this would be the last time the European title would ever change hands in this manner. This would also be Mark Henry's sole reign with the European Championship, lasting a total of 33 days, according to WWF historical records, before dropping it to D'Lo Brown at Unforgiven in Brown's final reign as champion. The 11th competitor to ever place their name in the history books as a WWF European Champion was Val Venus, when he was able to best not only D'Lo Brown, but the British Bulldog as well in a triple threat match to win the title against two of the most significant names in the championship's history. The Big Valboski was only a one-time Euro champ, but his sole reign, a fairly impressive one for the time, lasting 59 days officially. He would drop it to a man who would go on to become one of the greatest names in WWE history, Kurt Angle, in Angle's first ever WWF title win on a February 8th, 2000 SmackDown taping in Austin, Texas. During during Angle's European title run, he would also go on to win and hold the Intercontinental Championship simultaneously. Angle's runs with both titles are full of cowardly heel actions and DQ finishes with the likes of Chris Jericho and Taz, but memorable nonetheless, like pretty much everything Kurt Angle was doing in those days. This is Angle's only European title win for a recorded 51 days. Angle would lose both of his titles at WrestleMania 2000 in Anaheim, California, in a two-fall triple threat match against both Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho on April 2nd, 2000. The first fall would go to Chris Benoit with the Intercontinental title on the line, and then Chris Jericho the second, making him the new WWF European Champion for his first and only run with the title. That sole title win of Jericho's is also tied amongst shortest runs at less than a day, as the very next night on Raw, after WrestleMania 2000, Jericho lost his shiny new European title to Latino Heat Eddie Guerrero on April 3rd, 2000, in Los Angeles, California. This is the first of two title reigns for Eddie, who can also be placed on that short list of most memorable European champions of all time. This first reign is noted as lasting 110 days and saw Eddie defend the title against several former European champions. Combined with his second run as champ, Eddie is in the history books as being a Euro champion for a total of 134 days. Eddie would drop the European title to former Radical stablemate Perry Saturn in a fantastic match at Fully Loaded in Dallas, Texas on July 23rd, 2000 for Perry's sole run as champion. It would last for 38 days according to the WWE and saw successful defenses for Saturn on SmackDown and Jacked. Al Snow was able to put his name in history books as another one-time European champion, and one of the ones I remember the most, thanks to him having the belt by default on SmackDown too. He defeated Saturn on a SmackDown taping in Fayetteville, North Carolina on August 29th, 2000, and held the title for a total of 45 days. Not champion in reality for very long, but champion forever on our PlayStations. Am I right? The 17th European Champion in WWE history is another one of those classic, most remembered European champs of all time, William Regal. Regal defeated Al Snow for the belt on the October 16th, 2000 Raw in Detroit, Michigan for his first of a record-tying 4 reigns with the European title, matched only by D'Lo Brown. Regal is also the runner-up for total number of days holding the belt at 173, second only to the British Bulldog's 249. The late great Crash Holly also was able to add a European title reign to his career credentials, and also one of the shortest reigns in WWE history at that, with 1 day. The Spunky Cruiserweight and Hardcore Division regular was used to hotshot the title and work the Rebellion crowd in Sheffield, England, with Regal's title lost there. Regal would quickly get his revenge though, and as soon as everyone got back in the States, he got his day. A day later, got his title back in Rutherford, New Jersey for Raw. But nobody can ever take Crash's title win off the books. After another solid, rather long European title run for William Regal, next up to get a shot to call themselves champion was the also late great Test. He had an absolutely dominant run with the title in his only reign, even surviving a match with Triple H, able to walk out still European champion. Test's run with the Euro title lasted 68 days according to WWE, and if you ask me, his reign with this title is one of those defining moments of his career. Right up there with the Stephanie and Triple H stuff, and his run with Albert and Trish Stratus as TNA. And he got to end it on the biggest stage of them all when Eddie Guerrero defeated him at WrestleMania X7 for his second reign in a fine matchup. Matt Hardy is another now living legend that got a run with the beautiful European title early in his solo career, and having the honor to win it off someone like Eddie Guerrero, no less. Matt's an extremely notable one-time European champion, holding the title for 122 days, the second longest European title reign ever, second only to the British Bulldog's initial run with the belt that went over 200 days. And it was a fantastic, dominant run in the same vein as Tess's, with successful defense after defense against multiple big names across SmackDown, Raw, and Heat. This title run showed everyone Matt had what it took to be a solo star early in his career, and it set him up for the endless success that has followed him through the subsequent decades. Matt ended up finally dropping the title to the red hot at the time Hurricane. Shane Helms' superhero gimmick was incredibly over, and the Hurricane grabbed his only European title win on the August 27th, 2001 episode of Monday Night Raw from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Everyone else on the roster stood back while the Hurricane came through for 55 days as the European Champion and blazed his way through WWF record books. Even Bradshaw was a European champ. Bradshaw defeated Hurricane on the October 22nd, 2001 Raw, and although the reign was extremely short, at only 9 days per the WWE, he did manage to get one title defense in on Sunday Night Heat versus Chris Kanyon. It would be the future JBL's only time holding the European title. Oddly, the title would change hands next in a dark match before SmackDown tapings on October 30th, 2001, when another now living legend, Christian, would also lay claim with his only European title win very early on in his singles career, like Matt Hardy did, we spoke on earlier. Christian's reign was much, much longer than Bradshaw's at 90 days, and it was much more successful, as Christian had maybe the most dominant run with the title yet, beating an almost who's who of the roster at the time as he defended his title across every single television show the company produced. Christian's run with the European title may very well be the definitive one when asked who carried it best. To add to the surprisingly very long list of legends that held the European title in the short span of time it was around, Diamond Dallas Page unseated the previously dominant Christian for what was criminally DDP's only singles title win in his WWF career on a SmackDown taping from Norfolk, Virginia on January 29th, 2002. He even had a great match with Christian at WrestleMania X8 for the title, which I would personally call the all-time pinnacle of the European title scene. Page's reign lasted a total of 48 days and is probably my favorite thing about his WWE run. After a brief third time holding the belt for William Regal, former ECW fan favorite Spike Dudley was able to enjoy a run as the European champion that lasted almost a month when he defeated Regal in Phoenix, Arizona on April 8th, 2002 on a Raw taping before losing it back to Regal, who would claim his final reign as champ on another episode of Raw on May the 6th in Hartford, Connecticut. Also worth noting here is that during Spike's run, the title was renamed from WWF to WWE European Championship as the Pandas forced Vince to rebrand. Unfortunately, however, the end of the European title's days were near as WWE got the F out and the bell was tolling for the beautiful hunk of leather and gold. After another impressive run from William Regal with the title, Jeff Hardy got a single short run with the belt when he was victorious over Regal on the July 8th, 2002 broadcast of Raw in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It would only last for a recorded 13 days, however, as on the July 22nd, 2002 episode of Raw, a unification match took place between European Champion Jeff Hardy and Intercontinental Champion Rob Van Dam and their two belts. Rob Van Dam won and the European Championship was absorbed into the Intercontinental title. RVD's reign is not recognized in WWE's official European Champion listings, but his WWE.com profile and the WWE Encyclopedia, in fact, list him as the official last champion, and I would happen to agree with that. It's been over 2 decades since we have seen the European Championship. I actually half expected WWE to bring it back out at some point, but they haven't, and I'm quite surprised. But nonetheless, even as things stand, the WWE European Championship is one of the more storied titles in the history of the sport. And it was around during the very peak of business for professional wrestling, when the most eyeballs that have ever been on it were on it. Its list of champions it boasts is also stronger than many other defunct titles can claim. The European Championship may be gone, but we will forever remember it.